My name is Ryan Paul. This is my evidence of learning demonstrating the 7 AIDSL standards. One example I've engaged parents and carers in the educative process is through sending notes home for several larger projects to inform parents and carers of the student's standard progression in a particular learning area. During the golf course project, I used a range of assessments and strategies, including informal and formal, diagnostic, formative, and summative approaches to assess student learning. This included pre-test and post-test assessment of the unit work and a review of students' maths books to gain a level of their understanding. The Melbourne Declaration of Educational Goals was developed in 2008 to inform assessment for students and ensure that there is consistency throughout all educational institutions. The SOLAR project was designed through MYP Unit Planner and was designed to incorporate both digital and verbal instructions and student-directed learning through small group work that required the students to access both digital and traditional texts, collaborate and present their data on a poster, which they then presented orally to their peers for assessment. I have continued to develop my supporting student participation through the ongoing feedback of my mentors, and is a skill I will continue to conscientiously practice. I achieve this through active scanning of the classroom during discussion to ensure everyone has an equal opportunity to speak, and I ensure during collaborative projects and group work that everyone is an active participant through observation and by asking directed questions. My mentor at One Tree Hill Primary School and I work closely to moderate marking we completed to ensure we provided consistent grades. The marking criteria was developed prior to the task being completed and provided to the students. My mentor and I both marked the SOLAR project and compared marks to moderate results. This allowed for consistency across the class. We utilised a strict criteria and were able to agree on students' grades with ease. Strategies for improving teaching programs include reflections on learning that took place, supervision from mentor teachers, reviewing research and resources, staff sharing, peer mentoring, and professional development. I will often provide tasks on written worksheets to eliminate mistakes made from copying from the board, encourage the use of support resources such as calculators or multiplication charts that will assist to reduce computation errors being made. Feedback is useful as it motivates, providing scores to motivate and allow improvements to be noted, allow students to learn from mistakes, demonstrate the learning that has occurred, encourage and support risk-taking and problem-solving, challenge and provide insight into behaviours. I utilise many different teaching strategies when engaging with students, some of which include the use of ICT, group discussions, self-directed learning, direct instruction, research projects, formative and summative testing. I have managed a range of classroom activities, including individual tasks, small and large group work with sedentary and active tasks. I'm able to get the students' attention when required and provide clear instructions. I understand the importance of utilising different pedagogies to suit the students and the curriculum being covered. I am flexible and able to change between authentic methods, explicit teaching, multimodal lessons, and student-centred pedagogies depending on the content being covered. I've utilised Google Drive to deliver content, offer online strategies and workshops to students, and share and assess formative homework tasks and summative assessments. Through digital platforms, I have organised it sequentially so that the progression is clear and well presented. Throughout my placements, I discovered a range of literacy teaching strategies focusing on reading, writing, listening, and speaking. The literacy and numeracy strategies are also embedded across each learning area and are not just specific to English and maths. These learning programs were planned, structured, and sequenced in alignment with the CARAS achievement standard and in consultation with what the mentor teachers have already taught the students. I understand the importance of safe ICT use and ensuring confidential information is password protected. All schools I have been a pre-service teacher at have had similar levels of computer awareness and confidentiality with passwords and cyber safety as part of each induction. I interpreted data from student maths Google Drive, where results were allocated as the students uploaded their tests and weekly exercise sheets. The Australian curriculum has been developed with a cross-curricular priority for the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures. The CARA states that this provides an opportunity for all young Australians to gain a deeper understanding and appreciation of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, deep knowledge traditions, and holistic worldviews. The content has been embedded across each learning area. Embedding Indigenous culture into every learning area rather than labelling it as a separate course promotes inclusion. This promotes a normalisation ideology as it integrates the importance of Indigenous culture into all areas and promotes acceptance and mutual respect for Indigenous and non-Indigenous students. I discovered the 8 Ways pedagogy through one of my courses at Charles Darwin University. I found the approach really practical and insightful. The 8 Ways pedagogy is designed to create inclusion within the classroom. This pedagogy aims to work with the strengths of Indigenous students and is inclusive and normalising as it supports the students to flourish through culturally appropriate actions. According to Edith Cowan University 2012, the framework includes learning through narrative planning and visualising explicit processes, working non-verbally with self-reflective, hands-on methods, learning through images, symbols and metaphors, learning through place-responsive environmental practice, using indirect, innovative and interdisciplinary approaches, modelling and scaffolding by working from wholes to parts, connecting learning to local values, needs and knowledge. There are many factors that may impact on a student's ability to learn, including physical, social and intellectual. This is not a complete list, however it does demonstrate the multiple factors which must be considered when there are concerns about a student's learning. I have had the opportunity to work with students from different backgrounds throughout my placement. Vale Park Primary School currently have 1 in 3 students identifying as a culture other than Australian. I have adjusted my teaching methods to suit their strengths where required. The Energy Project is one example where I have differentiated teaching to meet individual specific learning needs, whereby I incorporated several different learning mediums and activities. I carefully selected different learning abilities for each group to ensure inclusion and incorporated a range of digital and non-digital platforms in both instruction and the students' work. I strongly believe students with a disability should be provided with appropriate support to enable them to participate fully in their education. My background as a social worker has provided me with the knowledge and tools to seek support and apply strategies to support students with a disability. I have utilised resources from my current placement to assess students through the summative tasks built into the resource books. I have participated in a development day about maths in the digital world and how this can inform teachers' assessment and reporting, and I was fortunate to implement some of these ideas after watching the key speaker present. Through participation in Lisa Jane O'Connor's ICT Matters to Maths, I was able to implement this in the classroom via Google Drive and spoke to the other Year 6-7 teachers about their individual student learning needs and how we could implement this development to suit individual learning requirements. 2 examples of establishing challenging learning goals include the STEM project, a joint collaboration between Vale Park Primary School and Nord Morata High School, where the students were tasked with designing and building a biosphere. The second was an extension activity that required a diorama model of the natural disaster that the students had been studying. I have utilised both online and print resources to use in lesson plans. I use both verbal and non-verbal cues to ensure effective communication. I have utilised a range of strategies in the classroom when managing a range of behaviours that present, including challenging behaviours. These include setting expectations and goal setting for each lesson, providing reminders about expectations, consequences for students misbehaving, separating students from small groups, removing students from the main group. Students have the right to be safe and supported in the school environment. I have demonstrated this by completing RAN training and maintaining duty of care whilst at school. I use various methods of communication to report on student achievement. I consider the role of the Australian Professional Standards for Teaching as vital in my development from brief service to graduate teacher. The standards will assist me throughout my career to guide my professional learning through each stage of development from graduate to lead teacher. During my placements, I have participated in a range of professional learning opportunities such as staff meetings which review the TFEL framework, primary and middle school meetings which discuss items specific to the needs of the middle school stakeholders, professional development days for maths, and internal professional learning groups investigating maths resources. I have also completed the Responding to Abuse and Neglect training and First Aid training to equip me to support the students in my care. I seek out verbal and written feedback from my mentor, visiting teachers and leadership, through them observing my classroom techniques and providing constructive criticism and reflection. Torrens Valley Christian School has a strong Christian-based ethos formed around 3 pillars: believe, belong, become. Respect is embedded in this faith-based ideology, and respect for one another and the wider community is a central focus of the school. I incorporate integrity, respect and responsibility into my daily routine through the following actions, including being polite and friendly, being approachable to students and staff, listening and valuing input from others, learning from others, and exploring others' contributions. I have completed the RAN training and understand the importance and procedures involved in mandatory reporting and have complied with these policies throughout my placements. I have been involved with different methods of communication to liaise with parents and carers throughout my placements, including informal discussions at drop-off pickup, diary notes in relation to students' work and behaviours, formal meetings with parents in relation to behaviour management or student performance, sending work samples home for review, provision of report cards, and telephone and email contact. I have become a student member of the AEU to enable me to remain up to date and connected with the teaching profession and education news through the AEU website, email updates and journal. This has broadened my knowledge and assisted me to understand the political context of the career I'm about to embark on.